What's going on, guys? Welcome to Talk Chain. This is Robcast 3.0, and the markets are crashing today. So, what's been going on today, and what we're going to talk about are a few things. One is the issue going on with Tether and the CFTC giving them a subpoena, requesting documents to kind of prove themselves. Number two, we're going to give an update on Matt's video on Ryblocks and BitGrail because there's been some changes since then. So let's just dig into this. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything is crashing. It's gone below 10,000. Total market cap, $485 billion. Bitcoin dominance, 34.1%. Down double digits across the board, and being low double digits is really best case scenario, with the exception of Populous, I've just learned, which we're gonna have to do some research on that one to see what's going on with that. But big news of the day is Tether getting subpoenaed by the CFTC with respect to the backing and the audits and this ongoing issue that we talked about a couple of days ago when they let go or ended the relationship with Friedman, their auditing firm, because they were essentially taking too long. Now, originally, when the news released on Bloomberg, people thought that might be the reason why, and that it might be kind of correlated with that. But later on, Bloomberg updated their report saying that the subpoena actually happened on December 6th, which is interesting. I'm not entirely sure what would have caused that original subpoena to happen, but I assume it has to do with the government not necessarily liking the fact that they're saying that their crypto is effectively worth as much as the US dollar for absolutely no reason. So there's a few different sentiments with respect to this and how it actually affects the markets. Right now, there are, let's just take a look at the market cap here at Tether. $2 billion worth of Tether. Ironically, it's the only crypto right now that's holding steady. So it's at 99.5 cents. Just slightly down from the dollar that it usually operates in. So the issue is whether or not the Tether and Bitfinex have the backing or have the actual money in a bank account somewhere. Now, the entire time they've been in operation, they've said that they undergo regular audits, which they don't necessarily do. And they've never really released something saying that this audit has happened and here it is. So that's really has been what is holding people back. Friedman had an original report, I think it was in the spring of last year, that when there was only 500 million Tether out there, they said effectively that they had enough money in the bank to back that. So since then, and since the most recent dip of all of crypto, namely Bitcoin, it's resulted in Tether creating 500 million new Tether. So there's an argument to be made that there's only 2 billion Tether out there. Who cares if 2 billion Tether come out of 485 million market cap, because theoretically that would bring it down to 483 billion in market cap. But there was an article by JP Morgan, or an analysis, which stated that there was actually only $6 billion brought into the market. Now, this was in mid-2017, so that's likely changed quite a bit. And people are kind of assuming that actual number, if they're correct, of $6 billion actual dollars is roughly around $10 billion today. So this article by James Crypto at jamescrypto.com kind of goes over total dollars in versus kind of inflow, or inflow versus market cap, sorry, and the resulting sentiment behind it. So the actual price of Bitcoin or any crypto that you invest in is not necessarily based on a number of people buying it for that much. It's really just whatever the last person is paid for it. So if it's actually true what JP Morgan's report says, and plus the estimate on top of that, and the estimated $10 billion is the real amount of money that's in the crypto space, then the addition of $500 million created over the last couple of months, and the $2 billion that are linked to US dollars overall, which would make it real money, real effective money, or real invested money. So $2 billion would make Tether worth about 20% of the overall money, fiat money in crypto today. So that could cause some significant problems. So a good way to, a good analogy to use, I'll just take what James Crypto said here, is if there's an island with 5 houses and he decides to buy 3 of those houses for $200,000 each, the remaining 2 houses will put their houses up for sale for $200,000 each. So it only took $600,000 to make the overall net worth of the island worth $1 million. So a similar sentiment happens with Bitcoin. So if I have $1 million and I want to buy Bitcoin for 1 or 2% higher than it's actually trading at, so let's say right now it's trading at $10,000, and I want to buy it for $10,400. So that's a 2% increase. What that will do to the market cap is increase the entire market cap by 2%. So $165 billion, you're effectively adding an additional $3 billion into the market cap with only $1 million. So you can see how that might change things, because people are looking at the last trade, and you'll see how whales can actually impact it. So if there's only $10 billion and $1 million can have a drastic impact, then the 500 million that could be created out of nowhere and that could be backed by nothing at all will cause some shockwaves and could drastically pump up the price of whatever asset they decide to put that money in. So there's that issue, and there's also an issue with the exchanges, because there are so many of the major exchanges, Bitfinex being the biggest one, obviously, but Binance as well, that are using Tether as kind of a base coin, and they kind of have transferable funds into there. So I think it's going to be a while before anything actually comes of this. Now, this has absolutely tanked the market based on the theory that because there's only $10 billion actually in this space, that there are that it could be reduced by 20%, which right now it's looking like it's happening right now anyway. So that has happened. It's kind of a complicated subject, more complicated than I can actually explain. So we're going to see how that unfolds. It's been going on now for 2 months. And for those of you who don't know what a subpoena is, it's really just the CFTC contacting them, saying that there's some issues, we have some questions, and we would like you to cooperate and provide us with this document, and this document to prove that what you're saying is true. Now, whether or not they cooperate is it's going to be something that it remains to be seen. I'm sure there will be some questions that will be sent to that department to see if they are cooperating. Um, but Charlie Lee posted a tweet. I'm not going to find it, but Charlie Lee posted a tweet saying that it's a good sign if the subpoena happened on December 6th and they continued to create these like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Tether. It would be either horribly stupid or a crazy one last chance at an exit plan to pump things up, make a ton of money, and then deke, which I couldn't see that being the case. And if it is the case, then we're in for quite a rough ride. So moving on, BitGrail and Ryblocks. So initially, the CEO, the founder of BitGrail, originally came on Reddit, posted on Twitter that everybody who is involved in BitGrail who has not been verified and who is not in Europe is effectively going to not be able to access their account and will be transferred the Ryblocks, the value of the Ryblocks in terms of Bitcoin. So they're going to exchange the value for Bitcoin value. Immediately once that tweet comes out, the entire market for Ryblocks, the price of Ryblocks tanks, goes down to, I think it was around $11 when I originally noticed it. I don't know if it went too far below that, but let's just double check here. No, it's number 23. And right now it has bounced back to $15, which is great news because it was it was a scary moment. So let's just pull this up here. Ooh, on this one it shows on CoinMarketCap only down to $12.89, but I guess it would be on BitGrail that it did a exponentially worse tank than on CoinMarketCap overall because people were panic selling on BitGrail and wouldn't necessarily be doing that on something like KuCoin or Mercatox. So what ended up happening was there was a severe amount of pushback from both the BitGrail and the Ryblock community, and essentially the founder, who goes by the username of the bomber9 on Reddit, said that that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is all verified users can still withdraw their Ryblocks, and everyone has 2 weeks to do so. So that is what resulted in the kind of the rebound of Ryblocks and the Ryblocks price, because as soon as that came out, everyone kind of calmed down, and all the verified users will be able to pull it out. So there is this ongoing issue with whether or not people are actually getting verified. And I think in about 2 weeks' time, you might see kind of a similar dip where people who weren't verified are going to be super upset at the fact that it took them so long to do it. They only gave 2 weeks, but at the same time, they couldn't verify within that 2 week period. So yeah, I would kind of look for that to happen again, probably on the 12th or so. Not predicting, not financial advice here, but that might be something that you want to watch out for or kind of worry about, because this whole wave is going to happen again, just in a smaller amount because some people have pulled it out. Now, some people foresaw this coming because BitGrail is kind of only a Ryblocks exchange. There isn't a ton of there aren't a ton of other coins that are operating on there. And because no big exchanges had ride blocks at the time, it became pretty massive pretty quickly, especially with the drastic rise in price over really ever since it's released. Like we've got it shot up all the way. I think it was close to $40 because I know I bought it at 36 and it just ruined me. But dollar cost averaging in with these drops, I bought as soon as I found out that this was happening, because originally I had my coins on BitGrail, but I transferred them to KuCoin once somebody in a skeptics thread mentioned that BitGrail might be the first or the next like hammer to drop when it comes to scams. And it's been an unfortunate week for crypto as a whole. We've got the CoinCheck hack, we've got the Ryblocks shutdown, or the BitGrail shutdown, the BitConnect exit scam, and we've got Tether being subpoenaed. So these are all very real life circumstances that have happened that impact the community, which will have a much more drastic impact than, let's say, if VeChain partners with another crypto, or like if VeChain partners with like General Electric. These are real life, immediate issues that need to be overcome, and that's why you'll always see a significant crash or a significant correction when these sorts of things happen. Now, I think a lot of people would say that this has been a long time coming. All of these things, everyone knew that, not everybody, but a lot of people knew or thought that BitConnect was a Ponzi scheme. Some people had already thought about BitGrail and the fact that the owner, the creator, might do some sketchy things to run off with a little bit of money while his exchange is still worth something. People didn't know the status of whether or not Tether could be financially backed, or whether there was a verification or some sort of elaborate audit to prove that they had the money left. And frankly, the hacks, they're going to happen every once in a while, it seems. It's unfortunate that it does happen. Thankfully, CoinCheck stepped up to the plate here and reimbursed like 400 of $500 million that were hacked. So a solid 80% went back to the people who were affected by it. So all of this could be for nothing. What could happen is, Tether could continue on with the subpoena, cooperate entirely, and this could all be for nothing. It could turn out that they've got $2.5 billion in a bank account or several bank accounts somewhere, and they just don't feel like telling anybody. And that should likely bring the markets back to where they were. Ryblocks and BitGrail that whole thing could be cleared up, and they could get through the verification process and get everybody their money and essentially just shut down. So there are potential upsides to what could happen. Until then, I think there are a couple options here. Number one, you can buy the dip. Number two, if you are getting scared, there are other dollar equivalents like Maker's DAI, DAI on CoinMarketCap. Let's just take a look. Let's see if that's been affected at all. DAI, which is also tethered to the dollar. So we'll see. Let's just pull it up. Internet is moving like a snail here. All right. Yeah, worth $1.01. It's gone up a little bit. let's just see. So that's it for today. Oh, sorry. One last thing that you can do. You can just hold. Doing nothing is sometimes better than doing something. Don't panic. The value could return. Hopefully it does. And really, this is the market that we've entered into. Don't invest things you can't lose, and just stay calm. That's it for Talk Shame. Hopefully, me and Matt will be reunited again soon. Take care.